Murder. How you doing, man?
I'm not his soldier. I was the CEO of Diplomats. I made Diplomats with him. I was with him for every bit of his journey. I held him down. I took that position of holding him down. And they know what I've done. And they could dance around it all they want and shit like that, joking, but they know if I get upset, it's gonna be a real problem.
What's happening? Oh man, this is crazy, man.
Mase, Cam, bloodshed, all of that shit started out my grandmother's house. Everybody got signed living with me in my grandmother's house, with me, not with them. They was all living with me.
Play too much, man. Oh shit.
It started with Mase. He didn't do the right thing.
All right. How was your vacation, man? How was your vacation?
How was yours?
What you Oh man.
I watched Mase shit on Cam and everybody around him. A bitch like all the time. You heard? Like I was there the whole time, but I was Cam's man. You heard?
Okay. It's just
It's what they want.
Cam and Mase were so-called best friends, grew up together, and R.I.P. Huddy. Like I was there for everything. That's one thing that people can't never say, is that I wasn't there for every single thing.
Yeah, listen, man. Listen, I'm gonna address a couple things because we've been on vacation and a lot of has been talking since I was on vacation.
Cam enemies were my enemy.
It all started with a laugh, but beneath it was a history no one dared to rewrite. From the very beginning, he wasn't just a soldier in the crew, he was a backbone, a strategist, the man who quietly orchestrated the rise of the Diplomats. He claims he built it alongside them, witnessed every move, every high-stakes moment, every victory. And here's the thing, those he helped know the truth. They can joke around in interviews, act casual, but deep down, they know. If the wrong buttons were pushed, it wouldn't just be words. It could ignite a real storm. There was tension in the air, the kind that builds when someone holds more weight than anyone realizes. Every laugh, every casual greeting, it was layered with history, power, and unspoken loyalty. And just like that, the audience could sense this wasn't the start of a story about friendship. This was the opening chapter of a reckoning.
Anybody Cam didn't like, I didn't like. And I already see how he was handling Cam, so I definitely didn't like him. You dig? And then I seen how much love Cam had for him and how Cam was jumping out the window for him, which a friend should and shit like that. Like, being overprotective, making sure nothing happened. Like, he was trying his best to make sure that Mase stayed as safe as possible. But Mase had got that money and lost his motherfucking mind. As he's supposed to, man. He grew up in a kid that doesn't have what most of us had. He was probably more or less fortunate than most of us. Didn't have the sneakers, didn't have all that shit coming up, so.
You are a guardian angel and designer, nigga. What the f is you talking about, man? You are from the Bronx, bro. You are not from Harlem. Why do you keep thinking that you are from Harlem, bro? You are not from Harlem. I did not grow up with you, my nigga. I did not grow up with you. Contrary to what you believe, I did not grow up with you.
I did a lot for them niggas in their life, you heard? Both of them.
Do you remember how we met, nigga? Pause, not met, how you got cool with us? I want y'all to go Google Cam'ron 1995 freestyle. Yeah, now go Google Mase, Cam'ron, Cardan, DJ Clue. Google Children of the Corn 12-minute freestyle. Google Bloodshed and Cam'ron, Children of the Corn freestyle.
Google it.
Are you at any of these places? No, nigga. You was not there, man. You wasn't there, nigga.
I was my own boss. I did what I did as a soldier because I was a soldier. I had the soldiers. You didn't tell me nothing. Everybody don't got the mind of a real leader.
This is what happened how Jomo got cool with us. We were popping. It wasn't no internet. Mase, myself, Big L, Bloodshed, my man Herb McGruff, we were super duper popping in the street prior to the internet. Everybody knew we was about to get a record deal. Everybody knew this. It wasn't no secret. Basically, you heard our freestyles.
This is where the foundation cracks open, where the narrative everyone thinks they know starts to shift. Before record deals, before fame, before the lights and cameras, it all began in a small, humble apartment, his grandmother's house. Every big name people associate with the early diplomats, they were living under his roof, not Cam's, not Mase's. He provided the shelter, the guidance, the platform. And it wasn't just generosity, it was strategy, mentorship, survival. He claims Mase and others didn't play their part correctly, didn't honor the trust, didn't recognize who held things together behind the scenes. It's the kind of revelation that changes perspective on loyalty, on who really built what, and why some people end up claiming the credit, while others were quietly holding it all together. Even in the laughter, there's an undercurrent, a reminder that history isn't written by those on stage. Sometimes it's the one off camera who controlled the board, and that truth, it's about to unravel more.
Come on. Yo, I heard the new you did. I heard the new you did. Yo, you want to come through? Come through. Why? Why are we going to Jomo's house?
I gave them food and shelter when they didn't have it, not saying they couldn't get it, but they know the situations that they were in. You know what I mean? As school kids. And
So they were in school, they got kicked out, you said?
both of them got kicked
Both of them got kicked out and you gave them food and shelter.
I never needed nowhere to stay.
They came to live with me in the projects in my grandmother's house.
So yeah, I would bring some bitches over there to sometime. A little maybe.
So you got the apartment to yourself. They come, but you still got to pay the rent.
Yeah, I paid the rent. I paid Kuda Love rent. That was Mase manager. I was a hustler. I always been a hustler.
You were in the streets.
I know how to make money.
You was a fan, nigga. You begged us. You are a fan, nigga. A fan.
Yeah, nigga, you a boss and you helped put everything together. This whole started in my grandmother's house.
You were fanned out and you begged us to come to your house after you heard all these mixtapes. That's how you got in. So you can sit around and act like you've been around all this Harlem shit and everything. You ever see somebody from Harlem try to act like they from Harlem so bad that you got to keep saying, I'm from Harlem?
I'm a Harlem. I am from Harlem.
Niggas from Harlem know who's from Harlem. You don't have to keep saying you from Harlem.
Jim Jones, you don't think he's from Harlem?
Nope. They never talk about him being in Harlem. I think he's from North Bronx or some shit.
And I believe he's from, he claims a blood gang out there.
Britney Spears claims a blood gang. And
And we was like, yo, Jomo's a nice guy. Make's like, yo, I think I'll teach him how to rap.
I didn't teach myself how to rap for nothing. I learned myself how to rap. I've taught my lessons and I taught myself, you dig? And I put myself in this position. Whenever I do my interviews, I'm very real with myself.
Mase actually taught you how to rap, literally. You say it.
Here's where the story sharpens into personal territory. The dynamic between Cam and Mase was legendary on the surface. So-called best friends, a bond everyone assumed was unbreakable. But behind that, he was there, observing, participating, and protecting Cam in ways the public never saw. He wasn't just a bystander, he was Cam's man, his right hand, his safeguard in the chaos that surrounded them. He paints a vivid picture. Every move, every conversation, every alliance. He was present, watching, calculating, understanding who was loyal and who was only circling for opportunity. And while the world bought into the best friends forever narrative, the reality was more complicated. Power, protection, and influence often hide behind smiles and casual greetings. And in the next moments, the tension between loyalty and betrayal starts to show itself. The seeds of humiliation that would eventually land on Jim Jones.
Mase actually showed me, he was the first person to show me how to rap. Mase helped me learn how to rap. Mase actually sat me down and showed me, Mase taught me how to rap, the magic to rap.
We taught you how to rap. How you ran the whole organization.
I credit a lot to Cam, but I also credit a lot to us because behind closed doors, it was us that put him in that position.
How you made Diplomat. You ain't make none of this stuff. You was a fan. I put you down because you had a free crib and you was a nice guy. That's how you got down originally.
I'm from the real bottom of nothing. I've been traveling on the train since I've been 8 and 9. I've been telling people this for years. Like, I'm a real anomaly. Like, I'm different in New York City. I was a man long before I was supposed to be a man.
What's your full name?
Joseph Guillermo Jones Jr. Extremely happy today.
Wow.
I'm very happy. I'm extremely happy of what I've accomplished, who I've become, what I've overcame, what I have the ability to do. Oh. Shit.
Now, to the next point. You make up with every...
This is the point where loyalty becomes unmistakably clear. He wasn't just present for the highlights or the studio sessions. He was there for every pivotal moment, every turning point, and he makes sure the audience knows it. No one can ever claim he wasn't part of the backbone. Then comes the subtle but powerful insight. Cam's enemies automatically became his enemies. That wasn't just allegiance. It was an unspoken code of protection. He observed the landscape, the rivalries, the power plays, and he aligned himself with Cam's vision completely. Every action he took, every decision he made, was calculated to defend the people he stood for. It's the kind of devotion that rarely shows up in interviews, but it underlines the weight of what was about to unfold. And as the story moves forward, that devotion starts to clash with misperceptions, and the tension, once quiet, begins to spill into public view.
Put hands on you. Every nigga that put hands on you or you get to altercation, you cool with him. You tried to chase French Montana out the game, that ain't work out. Y'all got cool. So cool that you go to his video shoot, pardon me, not his video shoot, his movie, you're sitting in the crowd watching the premiere, and they dissing you in the movie. You in the movie getting dissing, you gotta eat it, just sitting in the crowd. Nah, nigga, they dissing you in the movie that you went to go see, bro. Every nigga that do something to put pressure on you, you sit there and work it out. But when niggas got a little genuine heart for you and all that, cool, that's the pattern. If they don't put hands on you, then you can keep going on and on and on. And I ain't promoting none of this. I think it's cool that you cool with everybody I name. You gonna be 50 next year. But the niggas who do this, you cool with, and then you try to handle it sophisticatedly, you keep going on and on like niggas give a f about all that shit, bro. Niggas don't care about none of that shit, my nigga. Niggas don't care a little bit, my nigga. That's first and foremost. I'm gonna wrap it up with a couple things real quick. What I'll finish with is this, man. I'm never here to downplay your character. As much as you try to degrade my character for years and push me under the bus and say, I ain't start this and I ain't do that, and you started Pink and you made the Diplomats, which is just, if people choose to believe that, then look, I got a bridge in Brooklyn I can sell you to, man. But at the end of the day, man, I'm never trying to downplay your character. But you keep running around with these 25-year-old stories. Do you ever hear me talk about when you ran on me?
This is where the stakes of loyalty get sharper. His code was simple. If Cam didn't trust someone, neither did he. And it wasn't blind allegiance. He watched, evaluated, and made judgment calls based on Cam's well-being. When he saw Cam risking himself for others, stepping up, defending, overprotecting, he understood the weight of that loyalty. It wasn't just friendship, it was survival. Every move mattered. Every glance, every decision, every word had consequences in the streets, in the studio, in the battles for respect. And in this environment, protecting someone like Cam meant understanding the hidden currents of envy, betrayal, and ambition. One wrong step, one miscalculation, and the balance could shift. By the end of this, it becomes clear these weren't just friends arguing. This was a battlefield of trust, influence, and history, and Jim Jones was about to step into that storm unprepared.
BMF pulled up. When you ran in the hotel, they chased you to the beach. They chased you to the beach, nigga. You was in the sand. You was getting wet from the water, from the ocean. I don't pump that. Took your rags off. I don't pump all that shit, because I ain't trying to degrade your character. You know why? Because the revolution was televised. That's why I'm here. That's why God worked like that. That's why me and Murder is here.
You know, what was your reaction when Cam'ron brought up all these old stories and everything about you?
I laughed, man. I got this thing, man. People laugh at the lies, but the truth always hurt. You know, lies are more entertaining. You heard? You get to laugh, you get the joke, but the truth is a serious thing, no matter how you look at it. The truth is what the truth is.
Yeah, you know.
The revolution was televised. Because you talking about, and I'll wrap it up real quick with this, because I'll be here for an hour, we got other shit to do. Stop tricking out their freedom, bro. Because get around you to put themselves in better situations, bro. Not to be in worse situations than they was before they met you. That's why come around, but then you send them on dummy missions and trick them out their freedom. Max is doing 75. I know you don't give a f. Jaja just wanted to be a rapper. Jaja got 10 years, man. We don't know where Jeter at. Stro is just missing. I don't know what the f happened to Stro. Slicey, 12 years. His godson, that was 13 years old, 8 years. Shotty, he was trying to be 12 years. You know what's gangster? Emery is gangster. You know?
Here, the narrative digs into context, the pressures, the upbringing, the raw reality behind fame. Mase wasn't just another rapper. He was a kid who suddenly got wealth and status he hadn't grown up with. The money, the attention, the influence, it can distort perception, and in his case, it fueled ego and missteps. Meanwhile, the speaker positions himself as a protector, someone who tried to guide Mase through the volatility of sudden success. He frames it as a mix of duty and instinct, ensuring safety while watching a friend navigate forces bigger than himself. But there's a sharp contrast here. While Mase got caught up in excess, the loyalty and oversight behind the scenes went unnoticed by most. It's a reminder that behind every rise to fame story, there are unseen hands holding the pieces together, managing both people and chaos. And in this story, those pieces would collide in ways that few could predict.
Gangster Biggs is gangster. Biggs come home for jail, still got a stake in Rockefeller, whatever him and Jay-Z worked out, that's cool. Or whatever he got St. John as artist, he working with Drink Champs, that's gangster. Not throwing back in the pot that eventually do something that could get them back in the same situation. This is gonna be the last time I address this. Whatever you got to say after this, good luck, I wish you luck. I got other to do. Dipset movement was from 2001 to 2006-07. It's 2025. What are we talking about here? From 2007 to 2025, I got other shit to do. This is not on my motherfucking plate. So I wish y'all the best. I don't care what niggas say after this. I'm not addressing it no more. Believe what you want to believe, because I got other things to do. You feel me, Murder? I ain't want to snap one of them no shit, but yeah, I'm good.
You know, the internet gets kind of crazy with the lies. The lies be going crazy on the internet.
I mean, well, the lies start from a narrative, and the narrative starts from a person, and you just got to look at it like that. But I've never been one in my life to care about clearing up no rumors. Like, that shit just takes time out my day from making money. I know who I am. I'm very comfortable in my skin. I stand 10 toes down in everything I believe in. I don't change my pivot, and everybody knows that. I mean, as you can see, I would not be here if I did anything else but be me.
Can you pass me that?
Here goes some popcorn stats.
Thanks. Definitely need it. Oh.
Here's where the tension explodes into identity and territory. The stakes aren't just money or loyalty anymore. They're about credibility, respect, and roots. He calls out Jim Jones directly, challenging the narrative he's built about where he came from. Harlem versus the Bronx. It's not just geography, it's authenticity. The speaker emphasizes that proximity alone doesn't create history. Shared struggles, shared streets, shared battles do. And by asserting that he didn't grow up with Jim, he's underlining a larger point. Influence and contribution can't be fabricated. He wasn't there for the origin story that Jim claims, and this distinction, though subtle, is critical. It's more than a debate over birthplace. It's about who actually shaped the movement, who invested in it, and who simply latched onto it after the fact. And by drawing this line so sharply, he sets the stage for the deeper humiliation and correction that follows.
What you think Cam gonna do? You think he just gonna sit there and you think he gonna and Jim rhymed first. You know what I mean? Well, actually Cam and 50 said what they was talking about what they said. Jim heard that. He came back and said that. Now motherfucking Cam, what you think Cam gonna do? Cam is a lyricist. He's gonna make you feel any type of stupidity way that's possible. If he, basically, he's gonna say to basically kick you in your nuts. You know what I mean? He's gonna rip your heart out. Remember the old school when they was doing electric boogie and they grabbed the neck by the heart, pulled the heart, and they just had it in their head. And bit the through it, stomped on it. That's what you gonna hear. It's basically they was going back and forth. After that, like I said, it went to the money. That's the whole point of the situation. Yeah, he gonna say Jim is from the Bronx, cause he know that is gonna be a touchy. You know what I'm saying? You supposed to say if you battling, if you with your girl, if you with your lady, or if you whoever you choose to be with. Put it that way. Not you per se, but just people on earth, whoever you choose to be with. If you arguing with your spouse, or if you arguing with your sister, if you arguing with your brother, they gonna say the that make you wanna fight. You know what I'm saying?
Cam and Jim history go back before me. You understand what I'm saying? Like Cam and when I met Cam and Jim, they were super close. So I honestly don't really know Jim being from the Bronx and all that. You know what I'm saying? When I met them, they was in 5H, which is
Now, he lays down the evidence like a historian presenting receipts. He isn't just telling a story. He's challenging the narrative with verifiable moments in time. He points to freestyles, collaborations, and street credibility as markers of authenticity, emphasizing that he was part of the early groundwork, shaping careers from the inside out. He's not just claiming proximity, he's establishing authority. Look it up, he says, as if daring the listener to dispute it. Every citation, every reference, is a layer of proof that contradicts the public myth. This is where the story shifts from personal anecdote to documented reality, showing that some of the names claiming credit were actually benefiting from the foundation he helped build. By invoking these historical moments, he reinforces the point. The true architects of a movement often go unseen, overshadowed by those who arrive later and claim the glory. And that shadow, in this case, is about to catch up.
I'm saying Jim's apartment, and that's, you know, like, I guess that time was after all the stuff Cam had said already with the Children of the Corn and Jim, you know, whatever he said, you know what I'm saying? So, like I said, when I got there, Cam and Jim was like this, super tight. Mase wasn't even in the picture. I don't know Mase like that, you know what I'm saying? Every time I seen Mase, it's been a mutual, you know what I'm saying, respect there. So, you know, that's what that's been as far as me and Mase, you know what I'm saying? As far as, yeah, when I met Cam and Jim, they were already Trump tight and locked in. You understand what I'm saying? The Diplomats was already a name they had. You know what I'm saying? I don't sit there and claim I made the Dip, so that's not something I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? I made Dipset though, the two. Yeah, I did that. You know what I'm saying?
That was your idea?
Hey, yeah, it don't matter. Yeah, just like shit I said in a rhyme. A lot of things I used to say in the rhymes used to just stick sometimes, you know what I mean? And you know, it's just something we'll say. Like, even like words like the Goonies and shit like that. Those are words we said in rhymes, and then they just stuck out. We'll wind up saying them, you know what I'm saying, as slogans and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So Dipset was saying, you know, as members, you know what I'm saying? You know, we was members repping heavy, you know what I'm saying, at the time. So, you know, our set, that was everything, you know what I'm saying? What was your set? What set you claiming? You know what I'm saying? What set you claiming? You know what I'm saying? That was a big thing in New York. You know what I'm saying? Especially around that time, you know, you had lounges. You know what I'm saying?
So, of course, Cam is going to say he's from the Bronx and all that when he was talking about he was from Harlem and all that, because that shit hurt.
Here, he underscores the difference between being present and being pivotal. It's one thing to walk into a scene after success has begun. It's another to be the engine driving it. He positions himself as a leader, someone who orchestrated, directed, and protected the early movement. Soldiers, plans, strategy. He wasn't just a participant. He was managing the battlefield behind the scenes. He contrasts his role with those who only arrived later, implying that visibility and fame don't always equate to contribution. He even references Joe Mo, hinting at the network of respect and influence that surrounded him before the internet amplified anyone's name. These were street-level connections, reputation earned through action, not just a freestyle or a public persona. By making this distinction, he not only deflates the myth Jim Jones built, but also emphasizes that influence isn't claimed, it's earned, documented, and recognized by those who lived it. And that recognition? It's about to shake the narrative even further.
feelings if a nigga allow it. You dig? So yes, my boys from the Bridongs came down. Rest in peace when Miss Sally passed away. Rest in peace. And then he got it shaken from there. What's so funny?
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah, you know, it's your boy. I gave my time as the time was permitted. As the, you know, the universe said, give her this amount of seconds. Should have been longer. Hey, she know I love her.
Right. No, man, but hey, to go back, the backtrack a little.
Yo, you a funny.
Yeah. Yo, that shit threw me off.
You gotta keep that just like, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, damn, man.
Yeah, like I said, the Diplomats was already made, you know what I'm saying? I just came and added my sauce and my swag to the movement. But yeah, Cam and Jim was already kind of locked in. They was in 5H, which was Jim's house in Harlem, you know what I'm saying? You know, so, you know what I mean? We used to smoke all day and just talk about how big we gonna fucking be, you know what I'm saying? I used to take the cab down to Jim.
This is where he drives home the reality of pre-internet street culture. Back then, reputation wasn't measured in likes or streams. It was earned in real time, on the streets, in ciphers, and in raw freestyles that people felt in their bones. He recalls the camaraderie and energy of the early crew. Mase, Big Bloodshed, Her McGruff, all hustling, all pushing, all known for their skill before anyone clicked play online. The emphasis here is on authenticity. Everyone who mattered in the streets recognized their talent, their drive, and their imminent rise. The record deal wasn't a surprise. It was the natural result of years of sweat, risk, and consistent grind. And by contrasting that with those who arrived later or latched on to the hype, he's subtly exposing how some people retroactively try to claim participation in a legacy they didn't help create. It's a reminder. The foundation matters more than the flash. And in this story, the foundation was laid well before Jim Jones tried to step into the spotlight.
Rush, I ain't lie. I used to take the cab down there and ain't have no money to even get back. You know what I'm saying? Back uptown some nights. You know what I'm saying? So, it. Like, I was young. You know what I'm saying? I was, you know, just trying to get it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you know. You know what I mean?
You know what I mean? Like, I know the whole playing field. So when you hear me making these rants, I always bring it back to a point of reality.
Just you're aware of the clip.
Yeah, but with these clips, what they do is they take the most vicious piece or the piece that they can make you look the most craziest inside of that viral moment, and then it goes wild, which I'm aware of. That is a great strategy that they started to put into this whole thing. And I seen this is something I'm watching in the recent, like how they clipping and it's viral clickbait and all this from just the smallest amount of words that I could say. And that's what created this whole
moment, right?
She's just going crazy right now.
Here, the narrative deepens into the personal sacrifices and mentorship that often go unnoticed in the music world. He recounts the moment when Jim Jones and others came around, not because of fame or hype, but because he offered support, shelter, and guidance when they were at their lowest. This wasn't charity, it was foundational investment in talent and loyalty. He emphasizes that providing food and shelter, even for temporary periods, is more than logistics. It's about trust, influence, and shaping the next generation. And by highlighting the contrast between his contributions and the claims of those benefiting from them, he's subtly undermining any inflated sense of entitlement or history. The stakes here are about respect, who truly built the movement, and who merely benefited from it. It sets up the tension that runs throughout the story. One person's sacrifices and leadership versus another's attempts to rewrite history. And in these moments, you start to see the pattern of misaligned claims versus lived reality.
Well, that's all the time that we have for today. Thank y'all for watching. And as always, it is what it is.
Here, the story paints a vivid picture of responsibility and sacrifice. He wasn't just handing out couches or meals, he was managing space, money, and guidance, while still maintaining his own grind. Even when Mase and others needed support, the rules weren't removed. Respect, contribution, and structure were required. He frames himself as a hustler with a vision, someone who understood the value of putting in the work while supporting others without losing sight of his own path. Being a manager, being a protector, being a mentor, all simultaneously, he carried the weight of both the street and the studio. The underlying message is clear. Real influence comes from action, consistency, and accountability. It's not enough to show up. You must contribute, respect the hierarchy, and understand the groundwork others laid. And this principle underpins much of the tension that would later erupt with Jim Jones. Someone benefiting from the foundation without fully acknowledging it. He leans back and lets the weight of it sink in, the grind, the sleepless nights, the responsibility of being more than just a friend or collaborator. It wasn't just about showing up in the studio, it was about making sure people survived long enough to show up at all. Every choice had ripple effects, every decision a consequence. Shelter, food, mentorship. He wasn't asking for gratitude, but he was drawing a line between those who understood the investment and those who would try to rewrite history. The streets, the studios, the apartments, they were classrooms. Lessons weren't handed out, they were earned, and he knew that the credibility he carried came from surviving those lessons intact, while others were just learning to keep pace. It was the quiet kind of power, the kind that commands respect without demanding applause, but that respect becomes a liability when someone attempts to co-opt the narrative. This is where the tension starts to thicken. He's not just recalling events, he's mapping territory, geography, history, loyalty. These aren't abstract concepts. They're the markers that separate claimants from originators. And when someone comes along waving a banner they didn't earn, that friction is inevitable. The question becomes, who's telling the story and who's living it? He shifts focus subtly, but the point lands hard. Being in the room when things happened matters. Witnessing the chaos, the breakthroughs, the setbacks, that's what gives a voice weight. And it wasn't just about claiming moments, it was about preserving the integrity of them. Every freestyle, every studio session, every late-night discussion about the future of the crew carried lessons that weren't written down, but that shaped the culture. The irony, of course, is that history is easily rewritten once it leaves the room. Clips get taken out of context, stories get condensed into sound bites, and the nuance that defined relationships and hierarchies disappears. But for him, the truth is still living in the memories of those nights, in the streets, in the hard-earned respect of people who were there from the start. That's where the real stakes lie, not in headlines or social media posts, but in lived experience. And yet, despite the quiet power of those truths, there's frustration. It's one thing to misinterpret, another to deliberately erase. He doesn't need validation, but he wants acknowledgement for the groundwork that made everything possible. That's where the tension between legacy and claim surfaces, subtle but electric. Every misstep by someone else is amplified against the backdrop of the work he put in, and it's impossible to ignore. As the stories unfold, you can sense a rhythm, moments of reflection punctuated by quiet indignation. Each anecdote isn't just a memory, it's evidence. Evidence that the story, the movement, the culture, it was built carefully, deliberately, by people who understood the stakes long before fame and money entered the picture. And those who step in afterward, claiming a share, trigger the tension that the rest of this narrative rides on. He shifts from past to present seamlessly, showing how old patterns of loyalty, ambition, and survival still echo today. The relationships forged in the crucible of struggle still define alliances, and misalignments can erupt into public confrontations with devastating clarity. Every comment, every lyrical jab, every perceived slight carries the weight of history. And the audience watching, you feel it. The friction, the pride, the stakes. This is where the cultural resonance comes in. It's not just about one beef or one claim. It's about understanding how movements are built and preserved, how mentorship shapes the next generation, how geography, shared hardship, and loyalty intersect to create influence that can't be manufactured. And when someone tries to compress that into a soundbite, the distortion sparks conflict. He doesn't exaggerate. He doesn't sensationalize. He lays out facts, feelings, and context in a steady, deliberate cadence. The power is in the restraint. Every memory, every anecdote, every recollection of who slept where, who paid what, who protected whom, it's all building toward a single, undeniable conclusion. Some people earn their place in history, others attempt to borrow it. And when the two collide, it's messy, public, and unforgettable. The narrative arcs naturally toward resolution, but not before leaving room for tension. He reflects on the aftermath of those early days, where the players are now, who's still grounded, who's riding echoes of past accomplishments. It's a study in contrasts, the quiet integrity of those who built versus the loud claims of those who did not. And in every sentence, you feel the weight of accountability, of legacy, of truth standing firm amid the noise. He ends this segment with a pointed subtlety. The story isn't finished. It never truly is. Lessons remain, warnings remain, and the cultural footprint of these actions continues to resonate. There's satisfaction in seeing history acknowledged, frustration in seeing it ignored, and clarity in understanding the difference. And as the camera would pan back, as the streets, apartments, and studios fade into memory, the message is clear. Legacy is earned, credibility is lived, and the truth, no matter how inconvenient, is enduring. And don't go anywhere. Click the next video you see on your screen for even more juicy celebrity chaos, betrayals, and stories Hollywood doesn't want you to know. See you in the next one.